So, Iliona's world. Though Iliona's diary is a story, its details are true. Stolen children really did work as slaves in Roman houses. Not all were Greeks. They also came from many other countries that Rome ruled. For the Romans were the most powerful people in the ancient world. Over 6 glorious and bloodthirsty centuries, they created magnificent art, architecture, and writing. Even today, we rely on Roman ideas for everything from our laws and calendar to our water supply. I wonder if you can remember what the water supply was called. We looked at a picture of one on the board when she mentions it in her journal, and we weren't sure what it looked like, so we got a picture up and we explored it together. I wonder if you can remember. Where was ancient Rome? Ancient Rome stood where the modern Italian capital city stands today. It was built on 7 hills on the banks of the Tiber River. The Tiber connected Rome to its port Ostia, where the ship bringing Iliona to the city docked. Beyond Ostia, the lands that the Romans governed stretched from Spain in the west to Syria in the east. Rome ruled Egypt in the south, and the northern frontier was England's border with Scotland. Rome, the city. In 107 AD, Rome was a busy, thriving centre of trade and industry. Probably 750,000 people lived there. But Rome was an old city even then. People had been living in and farming the Tiber Valley for more than 1,500 years. According to Roman tradition, the city itself was founded in 753 BC by twin brothers Romulus and Remus. Romulus gave his name to the city. The empire. The empire was the main source of Rome's great wealth. Each time the Roman armies defeated a hostile nation, they were able to plunder its riches. War booty flowed back to Rome, and with it came huge numbers of prisoners who worked as slaves. Furthermore, the people of the captured regions regularly paid tribute, a kind of tax, to Rome. So, who was who? In the 2nd century AD, emperors governed Rome. These were not elected as modern presidents are today. They were dictators and held complete power over the people. I wonder if you know what a dictator is, and you can find out. Even so, the Roman people liked to believe that they governed themselves, and the emperor chose a senate, parliament, from the city's oldest and most wealthy families. Senators advised the emperor, but had real power only in smaller details of running the city and empire. Sorry about that. Roman people who were not members of the Senate were called the citizens of Rome. Though some were wealthy citizens also included many poor who owned no land. Even so, they enjoyed some of the same rights and privileges as wealthier Romans. About 1/20 of those who lived in Rome were freedmen. These were people who had been born as slaves, but who had won or bought their freedom. Freedmen could become very wealthy because, unlike some citizens, they could become traders. Slaves were at the bottom of Roman society. They were the property of their masters and could be bought and sold like furniture. The quality of their lives varied tremendously depending on their owners. Some were beaten and starved like animals, but many lived better than the poorest citizens. A slave's life. Slaves made up between 1/4 and 1/3 of the population of ancient Rome, and did all of the heaviest, nastiest work. Wealthy citizens owned astonishing numbers of them. Those with farms or factories sometimes had 20,000 or more. They might have bought these labouring slaves at very low prices. However, the best slaves, the intelligent, educated, and beautiful, sold for colossal sums. Colossal, what does that mean? In early Rome, citizens would put their slaves to death without fear or punishment. However, by the 2nd century, there were laws to protect slaves from the very worst treatment. Some were still beaten, but slaves could at least rely on their own value as protection. Only fools destroy their own valuable property. Slavery made Rome rich, but not all Romans were happy about that. With slaves doing so much of the work, many of Rome's poor but free citizens were unemployed and lived on handouts of free grain and oil.